disease.
They also have
They didn't have bowel disease.
problems.
They didn't have bowel disease. Have you been in the hearing?
No, I haven't. I've got a 12.
I've sat through 12 weeks.
Brian Deere holds no water as far as I'm concerned. He doesn't live with what I live with. I have an autistic son who has no speech and is still in nappies, and he's 11. He changed after his MMR. I saw it with my own eyes. I know what I live with. My son eats his own feces. I get faced with the poo monster quite regularly. I have done in my past. I feed him. I dress him. He cannot ask for a drink of water. He has no idea how to function in our world. Brian Deere is a journalist with no children. I can't get to Asda with my autistic son. He does not know what life is like to parents who have to live every day and don't get the privilege of forgetting what autism can do and what the MMR can do to a child. Yeah, and he can't blow bubbles. He can't drink out of a straw. How is he ever going to function in life? He's not able to do some of the very simplest things. You put it away? No? Okay. Shall we sit down, John? Who is this? John? Who's that?
John.
John. John. John. John. Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan. Jonathan. Jonathan Edwards. Edwards. Good boy. Jonathan.
So Brian is free to attend the GMC every day. It's hard not to ask how he can afford to do this, especially as the Sunday Times and Channel 4 have both confirmed they are not paying him to attend the hearings.
Brian.
Well, I don't know if you want to talk to me about your case.
This is bowel disease, Brian. This is what it looks like.
No, that's an X-ray.
That's an impacted bowel. That is
an impacted bowel is not bowel disease. That's constipation.
Oh,
That's what the doctor
the diagnosis is bowel disease.
Whose diagnosis?
The gastroenterologist's diagnosis.
That is not bowel disease. I mean,
I've got a diagnosis of
from
bowel
whom?
disease.
From whom?
Gastroenterologist. I'm not telling you what
What are the royal three? What are the royal three?
Brian.
Look at that picture, Brian. Look at that boy's bowel, Brian.
That is not bowel disease.
That's a dear. Look at that.
That's not bowel disease.
That's bowel disease.
That's diarrhea.
This is the photo of Josh Edwards that was shown to Brian.
You know, my son's had his large bowel removed. That can't just be down to diarrhea. You know, does he really think that the specialist will remove his bowel for no reason? Josh was a normal, healthy baby up to the age of 13 months. Very happy, good sleeper, perfect baby. You know, everybody would comment on, you know, how good looking he was, happy and contented. He had his MMR at 13 months and he got a reaction immediately. He had severe diarrhea the very next day. I went in to get him up and his cot was covered, all through his baby grow, all onto his sheets, bright yellow. This lasted for 5 days. Once the diarrhea stopped, he then would only open his bowel once a week. And he seemed to change, completely different child. Still, I was being told that there was no connection with the MMR, so at 3 years, 9 months, I then went ahead and gave him the MMR booster, and the same thing happened again. It was at this stage at a school medical that the doctor said to me, any problems? I said, well, yeah, you can't tell me opening your bowel twice a month is normal. He said, because it's not. Look at the size of his distended stomach. With that, he faxed a report through to our local hospital and Josh had an appointment the following day. It was then suggested that he had manual evacuations under anaesthetic and an anal stretch to stretch his anus. No, it made no difference whatsoever. He was then referred to Great Ormond Street. and then later on to the Royal Free with the Emma Martin research going on there. Within 10 days of being seen at the Royal Free, they had him in and found that yes, he had exactly what they were finding in other autistic children: inflammation and ulceration. And he had an ileostomy where they removed the whole lot. It was in Josh's best interest. It was so badly diseased that he would be better off without his colon, his large bowel. So we were forced to take Josh over to the States, where this endoscopy capsule travels. He swallows, travels through his body, taking loads of pictures, and it proved we were right. The bowel disease was in the small intestine. You know, it's definitely not Crohn's disease and it's not colitis. It is a new form of bowel disease which does exist. Nobody has even considered that it could possibly be MMR damage, and it could be the measles, what is still in him, and doing the damage. Why on earth can't they test for measles virus? They don't want to know. They won't even consider it. Why? You know, why on earth can't they? Because they're frightened that Dr. Wakefield may have possibly made a connection.
In February 2009, Heather Edwards wrote to Brian Deer via email. This is what she said. "This is the child you were shown a photo of outside the GMC, in which you replied by saying that he did not have bowel disease but nothing more than diarrhea. How could you possibly be able to diagnose bowel disease from a photo? If you had looked properly at it, you would have seen he has an ileostomy bag. Do you really think gastroenterologists and surgeons would have removed his entire colon on the grounds of nothing more than diarrhea?" And Deer responded with this.
"Dear Nick and Heather Edwards, normally I don't reply to malicious emails. In your case, I will make an exception. I have never passed any comment about this child of any kind at any time. I have never diagnosed or sought to diagnose any illness in any child ever. Period. What mental contortion on your own part leads you to imagine that I ever did such a thing is beyond me. At all times outside the GMC, I have been videotaped. None of that videotape has ever been shown because it reveals me discussing and debating issues with people who raised them with me, to my undoubted credit. Radio 4 even broadcast a section of these conversations. If you personally cannot behave with integrity, courtesy and honesty, you really shouldn't be surprised if others take advantage of you, as it appears to me that they have. I will have to assume that you don't know any better, so you have my best wishes."